Good afternoon and welcome to Glasgow Caledonian News. I'm Ryan Bounagui.
And I'm Laura Donaldson. A scheme allowing people to find out whether their partner has a history of domestic violence, known as Clare's Law, will be piloted in Scotland. Sean McGee reports.
Barry McGowan of Assist, an independent charity that deal with individual cases of domestic abuse, believes that Clare's Law will lead to a positive change.
It will mean that victims of domestic abuse will get some more information that will help them if they're in a relationship with someone where they're not quite sure whether it's the person's abusive or not, and they've got some questions about that, then they'll be able to apply to Police Scotland and get some information.
Domestic abuse cases are very prevalent in Scotland, despite there being no specific criminal charge. Domestic violence incidents are recorded every 10 minutes, and the number of reported incidents increase each year, with 1 in 5 women experiencing domestic abuse in their lives.
I'm now confident that multi-agency groups will be set up, which hopefully we'll be part of, that will make sure that the victim's voice is heard when both the offence and Clare's Law pilot is being developed.
Britain is on the verge of being out of the recession, according to new statistics. A leading economic body says the economy is almost back to its pre-financial crisis peak in a new report. The recession first began in 2008, which led to the closure of many businesses across the country. Unemployment rates have also improved, falling by 1% over the last year.
A whooping cough vaccination programme for pregnant women has been successful, according to a new report. Figures show that the programme reduced the number of cases of the potentially life-threatening condition in newborn babies by over 80%. Researchers found that over 3/4 of pregnant women have been vaccinated against the disease since 2013. The programme was originally launched in 2012 after a large outbreak of whooping cough in the UK. The number of cases in children under 1 has fallen drastically from 140 in 2012 to just 19 in 2013.
And so this whooping cough vaccination of pregnant women can help to protect these very vulnerable children who don't have the choice of being vaccinated or not, now that other people have made the choice to not vaccinate their children and therefore increase the risk for others.
Scottish athletes could have to choose between Team GB and Team Scotland for the 2016 Olympics if the country votes for independence. Former Scottish Labour First Minister Henry McLeish compiled a report and concluded that there were no obvious barriers to Scotland's competing at the Games in the Rio Olympics. But Vice President of the International Olympic Committee, Sir Craig Reidie, doubted this was achievable, as he said an independent Scotland would first need to apply for membership of the European Union.
A Glasgow survey has revealed that 2 out of 5 young people say they are addicted to the internet. Rosie O'Neill has more.
The internet can now be used for just about anything. It has become so vital that many can't imagine a life without it. Doctors argue that the constant use of smart technology has a damaging effect on people's health. Most young people, however, don't agree.
Good thing to a point. There's good information, but it can get addictive.
I think it's alright, personally. Don't see any problem with it.
I'm on it mostly for shopping, I must admit, which is bad, and on Facebook and things like that, but I guess everyone is really.
The BBC's Radio 1 Academy is coming to Glasgow tomorrow. Media students are excited at the prospect of learning from the industry's finest calibre of DJs, acts and entrepreneurs. Caledonian News spoke to Daniela McRae, a radio student.
I applied for the Radio 1 Academy because it's a great opportunity to get kind of hands-on with the industry. I'm a radio student myself, so Radio 1's like the top game of the radio for me, so just going in there, seeing how it all works, being able to meet some of the DJs, ask them questions and just be involved in the kind of general buzz that's going on.
We'll now pass you over to Andy Barge, who's taken a look back at this week's top stories.
4 in 5 Scots with asthma die due to not receiving basic care that is needed. A new survey by charity Asthma UK claims that over 250,000 people have missed out on treatment, with the National Review of Asthma Deaths accusing medical staff and also patients of being complacent about the disease. Job seekers are at risk of losing their benefits if they refuse 0-hour contracts. Under new rules, job seekers are required to accept a job that doesn't guarantee working hours every week. Contracts should offer a minimum of 25 hours a week, but if a seeker turns down a contract, 3 months' payments can be held back as part of a toughening up scheme. An interactive war memorial plaque has been unveiled at Glasgow's Western Necropolis to commemorate the First World War. The panel features a code that can be scanned by smartphones that allows access to information about the war graves. A service to mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War is to be held at Glasgow Cathedral on the 4th of August. Coca-Cola planned to remove a controversial ingredient from some of its products after the success of an online petition. The ingredient, brominated chemical oil, is found not only in Coke but also Fanta and Powerade. Japan and the European Union do not allow the use of the additive, which acts as a stabiliser in fruit-flavoured drinks. Andy Barge, Caledonian News.
Now let's head over to the social media hub where we can join Rosie O'Neill. What are people saying about Coca-Cola, Rosie?
Well, Ryan, we've had quite the response here in the social media hub. At Ellis Clare Haw says, I hope removing the ingredient which supposedly causes Alzheimer's doesn't make my drink taste any different. Tab_that says, so glad to see Coca-Cola do the right thing and remove the Alzheimer's ingredient. Ed Davies 21 says, I've been drinking Powerade my whole life and I'm fine. #Alzheimer's ingredient. We've had great feedback so far, so keep your tweets coming and use our hashtag Alzheimer's ingredient. Back over to you, Laura.
Thanks, Rosie. This week, a Scottish man has been fighting to see his baby son by urging MSPs to change the legal rights of unmarried fathers. Let's take a look back at that story.
Ron Park has been denied access to his 6-month-old baby as he is not married to the mother. The campaigning father stood before the Parliament's Public Petitions Committee in an attempt to guarantee both parents full rights. Families Need Fathers is a charity to help men who find themselves facing similar difficulties.
Well, Ron isn't the only person who's been raising this. The Equalities Committee of the Scottish Parliament has also been discussing this issue, and we hope that this continued pressure will bring about a change. Unfortunately, we've just missed an opportunity in the recent children's legislation. It could have been sorted in that, but we'll certainly be keeping up the pressure, and we hope that his petition will definitely move us a little bit further forward.
He wants equal rights between the mother and the father, and it would seem the public are in agreement that the father's role is equally as significant.
Personally, that would be very difficult for me to cope with because my children are my life. And I think legally, although I understand that priority might seem to be going to the mother, I think there should be a legal representation for men.
But it's still important that the children have access to the father, see the father and have the father's influence, as long as that's a positive influence on them.
I think it's really quite sad because most guys, if they're in any way into their children, it hurts every bit as much as a mother not getting to see them.
Cases such as this are by no means new. We've seen similar stories in the past involving other fathers fighting for the right to see their child. Caledonian News spoke to lawyer Jonathan Brown about the history of the law surrounding the matter.
Well, one of the earliest cases of family law relating to illegitimate children, as they were then termed, would have been around about 1913, the early 20th century, certainly. Now, in that case, the one that is in my mind at the moment, the judge actually reached a rather interesting decision, because he said that not only is an illegitimate child alien to the father, he's actually alien to the mother as well, according to the law, because they were of the view that if they weren't married, then there's no legitimacy to the birth at all. So the mother has absolutely no claim to be recognised as the child's parent, and the father has no claim to be recognised as the child's parent. Now, the law's moved on in leaps and bounds since that point, and as recently 2006 we abolished the term illegitimate children altogether. There's no stigma attached to it anymore in terms of law, and children that are born out of wedlock can inherit their parents' estates, even if their parents die intestate, and they can essentially enjoy all the rights that any other child would have. And the law relating to cohabitants has came on 1,000-fold as well. It's still not perfect, it's still very far from perfect at the moment, but it's improved a lot from the dark days of the early 20th century.
Now over to Lewis Irons and Peter Campbell with your sport.
Thanks, guys. In football, second place Aberdeen faced third place Motherwell this weekend in what looks to be a thrilling final day in the Scottish Premiership. With second spot on the line for the two clubs, Pittodrie will be full of nervous supporters on Sunday as a mere point separates the sides. Dermot McInnes's Aberdeen side go into the game on the back of a 3-1 away win over Dundee United, thanks to a brilliant hat-trick from striker Scott Vernon. Motherwell enjoyed their victory in their previous match too, with a 2-1 home victory over Inverness Cali Thistle.
Hamilton Accies await their playoff challengers as Falkirk host Queen of the South in the second leg of their Premiership playoff quarter-final. Hamilton finished the season in second place, ensuring the semi-final spot was guaranteed. The semi-final takes place over 2 legs, which will be played on Tuesday and Sunday next week. And the battle to face Hamilton continues this Saturday, with the Doonhamers holding a narrow 2-1 lead ahead of the deciding fixture. Falkirk finished the season in third, a point behind Hamilton, with Queen of the South 11 points behind them in fourth.
Looking south of the border now, it's also the final day of the season in the Barclays Premier League, with Manchester City in the hot seat. Now, they will be hoping to build on their 4-0 victory over Aston Villa on Wednesday night, after Liverpool slipped up against Crystal Palace on Monday, ensuring they dropped off top spot.
And Andy Murray is out of the Madrid Masters. He lost in straight sets to the world number 46, Santiago Giraldo, the first time the Colombian has beaten a player inside the top 10. Andy admitted he was shocked to lose.
You obviously go into most matches believing you can win and looking for a positive outcome, and to lose with that scoreline is disappointing.
Well, I'm sure everyone will be a bit more excited than Andy Murray for this weekend's action in sport. Do you agree, Pete?
I have to agree, Lewis. I'll be sat in front of my TV all weekend.
Back to you guys in the studio.
That's been your news. I'm Ryan Bounagui.
And I'm Laura Donaldson. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.